Hello everyone, welcome back to the Whiteboard app series. In this video, we will implement Preference Data Store so we can save the user's preferences regarding the color scheme. If you are finding the content valuable, please drop a like on the videos. It really helps me stay motivated to keep bringing you more. So let's get started. First thing, let's add the dependency for data store. And here is the documentation of this data store. You can also search and scroll it down. And here we have two types of data store, preference data store and this proto data store. And we will use only this preference data store. So let's copy this dependency. Here let's go to the Gradle file and scroll it down and add it here. And change this to new version catalog declaration. And now go to the version catalog file, and here we have the data store preferences version, and scroll it down, and here is the dependency for this data store preferences. And now sync the project. And the Gradle has been synced, so let's close both these files. And now next thing, we will design a dialog where user can select their preferences. So that dialog will be specific to that settings screen. So let's go to the settings package, and here create one more package with the name component. And here create a file with the name color scheme dialog. And here we will use alert dialog. This alert dialog comes with this material 3 library. And to this alert dialog, we need to use on dismiss request. So these will be the 5 parameters. First, this on dismiss request, it will be triggered whenever user will try to dismiss the dialog either by pressing outside the dialog or the back button. So this on click we will provide through the parameter and attach it here. And next, this title, here we can simply use a text composable with a text color scheme. And next we have this text, and here we will use the content of the dialog. For now, let's just leave it blank. And next we have this confirm button, and here we will use a text button, and this text button we have the text with the name OK. And next, let's use this text button for this dismiss button also, but the text will be close. And when user will click on this on click, we will trigger this on dismiss. And let's also attach this modifier. Now if we want to see the preview, then we cannot see directly the preview here, because right now we are in the common code. And to see the preview, either we need to create a preview function in the Android main package or in the desktop main package. So first let's see in the Android main package. Go to this main activity, and here create one preview function with just name preview. And here we can use our color scheme dialog. This on dismiss we can provide blank parenthesis. And to see the preview, we have these split windows, and let's make this full window. Let's click on this render issue and build and refresh. And here is the preview of the dialog. And if you want to see the preview side by side to this color scheme dialog file, what you can do, first close this project window, and next thing, on this main activity, right click and split to the right. On the left side we can open this color scheme dialog, and on the right side we have this preview. And suppose if I want to change the title and see the preview, so let's name it new color scheme, and here is the new preview. But my system is not that fast, so what I will do, I will write this code first and then we can go to this main activity, and here we can see the preview. And if you want to see the preview on the desktop, one more thing you need to do is go to the settings and on this plugin tab, and here in the marketplace you need to search this plugin, Compose Multiplatform IDE Support, and you need to install this plugin, and this will help us in previewing the on the desktop, and I already have installed it. So let's close this, and first let's copy this preview code function and go to this desktop main and main.kt file, and here let's paste it and import the preview. And here is the preview on the desktop platform, and if I make this bigger, so this is how you can preview on the desktop, but we will only see on the Android for now. Close this main.kt file and go to the color scheme dialog, and here we need to add few more things. For the body of this alert dialog, we need a radio button and a text. So for that, here let's create one more composable function, and for a single button we need a row, and in this row we need one radio button and a text, and the text will be simply the label we will provide through the parameter. And this radio button, here we need to provide this selected and next this on click, and both these things we will provide through the parameter. And one more thing, both these things will be vertically center aligned, and horizontal arrangement we will arrange both these with the space by, so there will be 8 dp space in between both these items. So this composable will be used for a single button. And how many buttons we need? We need 3 buttons. For that, in the domain package, this model package, here create one more enum class with the name color scheme. So there will be 3 possible options for a user to select the color scheme. First, this system default, next this light, and the dark. And let's also save one value with the all these with the name label. So this will be the enum class. Now let's use this class and use a column layout in this body, and we need all those enum values. So here we need to use this color scheme enum class, and we have this function with the name entries. So this entries will provide all these values as a list, and we will use this for each, and for each color scheme we will use the button labeled radio button, and we need to provide this selected value and the label and this on click. And label we can simply provide this label value, and next we need to provide this selected and this on click. But before that, here let's create a state locally. and we will pass the current scheme to this dialog. And by default, we will keep this current scheme here in this selected scheme. And one more parameter, let's create with the name on theme selected. And we will pass the color scheme to this parameter. So let's scroll down, and here this selected, we will say if this selected scheme is equal to this color scheme, then the radio button will be selected. And on this on click, here we will update this selected scheme straight to the new color scheme. And this selected scheme we will pass on this on theme selected when user will click on this confirm button on theme selected, and we will pass this selected scheme. And one more thing we need to do here, when user click any of this confirm button or the dismiss button, we need to call this on dismiss because we need the dialog to dismiss. So this will be all the code related to this color scheme dialog. And minimize these imports, and let's see the preview also. In the main activity, we need to pass these values, but before that, one more thing we need is, here we also need the isOpen value. When this isOpen value will be true, then only we will show this alert dialog. So let's wrap this inside this isOpen. And now pass these values. isOpen true, current scheme, let's use the default. And now see the preview. And here we have the dialog preview. So it's looking quite good. One more thing we need is change this title to simply color scheme. Now next thing, we need to create a list item in the settings screen. So let's go there, and in the settings screen, first we are using a column layout for the parent layout, and here first thing we have the top bar, and after this we will use a list item. So this list item also comes with the material3 library. First we need the clickable, so let's use the modifier dot clickable. And next we need the headline content, and here we will simply use a text. So the text will be the color scheme. And next, the supporting content. This will be the content which will be placed under this headline content, and the font size will be little bit small. Supporting content will be the label of current scheme, and we will provide the color scheme through the parameter. And next thing, we need the leading content, and here the leading content will be an icon. I will paste one icon in this drawable. You can also get from the GitHub. And we need to rebuild the project. And we got some error, but that's okay. Let's minimize this and go back to the settings screen. And here use painter resource. And next, for opening and closing that dialog, here let's create one state. For that, we can copy the code from here and by default we will keep the false value and we need to paste the code of that dialog and we can get the code from that preview function and this is open value will be the state and on this on dismiss we will update the state to false and the current scheme we are passing through the screen and this on theme selected again we will create a parameter to this screen and let's attach it here and this dialog will be open when user will click on this item and we are using this screen in the nav graph so for now let's just provide some default values current scheme we need the default and this one let's pass blank parenthesis. Now let's see how this dialog is looking in the app. First let's run the desktop app and we got some error. Let's scroll up and these one. Here it is giving error so let's just remove this preview and again run the project. And here we have the app. So go to the settings and click on this color scheme and here we have the dialog and we can select any of these but the functionality we have not giving now and one more thing we need to correct if user click on this text then also it should be clickable not only these radio buttons so let me correct this thing go to the dialog and scroll down and put this on click on the row and now let's run on the Android and here is the Android app let's click on the settings icon and we have a list item and click on this and here we have the dialog still the clickable is limited to the text so here one more thing let's do is use the fill max width and again run the app. On the Android it's working perfectly fine. Let's also see on the desktop. And this is how it is looking on the desktop. It's looking fine. So let's close all this. Hey everyone, if you are finding this tutorial helpful, you will love my premium Udemy course where we will build Measuremate, a fitness app using Jetpack Compose. We go in depth on the Firebase authentication, Firestore, and more. Check out the course in the description and take your skills to the next level. See you there. Now, next thing we need to give the functionality to this dialog. So, before that, let's have some understanding on this preference data store. Preference data store is used for small primitive data like user preferences in a key value storage mechanism. You might be wondering why we are not using the local storage when we already have the room library set up for the local storage. The reason is that local storage is used for some complex data like those drawing paths where we need to save so many properties related to that path. But when we need to save some simple values like this user preference regarding the color scheme, then we can simply use this preference data store. Here we don't need to set up all those entities and those DAOs. Here we simply need to write few functions and we have everything done. Now we need to define few functions. Go to this domain package and this repository. Here create one more repository with the name settings repository, and this will be an interface. And here I will define two functions. First one will be this suspend function with the name save color scheme, and we will provide the color scheme to this function. And next function we have the with the name get color scheme. This will be used to retrieve the color scheme value, and this will return us the flow of this coroutine, and the type will be color scheme. And we need to implement this function. So go to this data package and the repository and create one more implementation, settings repository implementation, and extend this with our interface and press Ctrl I and enter. So here first thing we will provide the preference data store outside this class. So let's create a private val and we have the preference and the type will be data store of preference. And here first thing we need to define the key. Key will be defined in this companion object with the name private val color scheme key. This key will be of type string, so we have this function with the name string preference key, and the name of that key will be, let's define that in our constant file. Go to this util package and constant and create one constant with the name color scheme preference key, and this will be the name of that key, and let's use that constant, and to this key we will save some value, and we will use this preferences, and we have this function with the name edit, and on this edit function we get the preferences, and first we need to find the preferences with key of color scheme key, and we will save a string value of this color scheme dot name. And this is how we save the preferences. It's quite simple, just we need to use this edit function and find the preferences with this key and save the value. And next, to get the preferences, again we need to use the preferences, and this time we have a value with the name data, and we can map these preferences, and we need the preference with this key color scheme key, and we will save this in this scheme value, and this can be null, so let's use some default value in case it returns the null. Color scheme dot system default dot name, and this function needs the color scheme, so let's use the return keyword here. To return that color scheme enum class, we need to use this color scheme, and we need to get the enum value with this value of function, and we will provide the string here. So this value of function will give us that enum value, and we will return that to this function. So this will be the implementation of this settings repository, and we just need to use these two functions and everything is done. Now we can use these two functions in our view model. So let's go to the presentation package and settings. Here create one more file with the name settings view model and extend this with view model. and get that private well settings repository. And first thing, create a function which will be used to save the color scheme. And we simply need to use this view model scope dot launch, and here use our settings repository and this save color scheme function and provide this value. And next, let's create a value where we will get that color scheme. The type of this will be state flow and this color scheme. Let's use our function from this repository, this get color scheme. But this function is returning us the flow, but we need the state flow. So let's use this state in function. This will convert the flow into state flow, and use this scope, view model scope, and started strategy. We need the while subscribed with stop time millis 5000 millisecond means 5 seconds, and initial value we will save system default. So let's use these two things in our F file. But before that, go to the navigation and nav graph. And these two parameters we will implement in that F file. And this nav graph we are using in the F file. Now next thing, let's get the view model first here. For that we will use this coin view model, and the type will be the settings view model, and we need the color scheme value, and we have the function with the name color as state with life cycle. And this color scheme value we can provide to this current scheme, and this on theme select. Here we can call that function from our view model save color scheme, and we need to pass the scheme, so pass this it. So now the app scheme will be depend on this color scheme value. So here create one value with the name is dark theme, and use the when block, and when the color scheme, and press this alt enter at remaining branches. And if the color scheme is system default, then we simply need to use this is system in dark theme. So it will be depend on the whether the phone is in the dark mode or not. And if our value is light, then we will use the false value to this, and here this true value. And now we can use this value here. So this was all the setup related to that preference data store. But one last thing we need is go to the settings repository implementation, and here we are providing this preference data store outside this settings repository. So we need to provide the object of this data store preferences with the help of that coin library. So first let's go to the DI package and the shared module. And one thing we need is we have one more view model, so let's duplicate it and use the settings view model also. And it is not importing the value, so let's import it from here, duplicate it, and we need the settings and dot settings view model. Now we can use. And same thing let's do for this repository. We need to bind one more repository, so again import the settings repository and the settings repository implementation. So now we have defined both these view model and the repository, and we need to provide the preference data store to this repository. So the creation of this preference data store object will be different according to the platform, and we will take the help of the documentation in creating the object. You need to find this documentation with this name, data store Kotlin multiplatform and scroll down, and this is how we create the data store instance. First we need to create a function in our common main. So let's copy all this code and go to our common main and data. Here create one more package with the name data store and create a file with the name create data store and paste that code. And first import this data store and this preferences, and this function we will define differently. And this file name, let's cut the code from here and we will use the constant file and create one more constant and name it data store file name, and the file name will be this color scheme dot preference underscore pv. This is the type of the file preferences underscore pv, and remove this one. Next thing, let's go to the documentation, and we have used this code in the common main package and scroll down, and next we need to provide this code for the Android and this one for the iOS, but we don't have the iOS, so we will use this code only. And for desktop we don't have any specific code, we can simply use this code on the desktop, but for the Android let's copy this code and go to the Android main package and the data package. Here create one more package with the name data store and a file with the name data store and paste the code here. First thing, let's rename this function to simply data store, and on the Android platform we need the context, and this will return the data store of type preferences, and let's also define this differently. And this file name we have here, copy this and use it here and import it. And next let's go to the di package from this Android main and this platform module, and here we will specify to the coin that we need an object of that data store. So again use the single block and here call this data store function, and this function needs the context and we can simply use get function, and the coin will provide the context to this data store function. So let me explain you one more time how we are creating the object on the Android platform. First thing, in the common main package we have a repository of this settings repository, and here we are saying that we will pass the preference data store object from the outside, and since we are creating the object separately on different platform, that's why we are using this platform module expect function, and this expect function has two actual functions. First we have this Android, next we have this desktop, and on the Android here we are using this single block because the coin will create a single object and will use it throughout the application, and here we are simply calling this data store function and providing the context to this function, and this function here we are calling this create data store function. This function is the same we have in the common main file. If I press Ctrl B on this, and here is the code we have in the common main, and here on the Android we are simply providing the path of this preference data store file like this. And next thing, let's create the object on the desktop platform. For that, in the desktop main we have this di platform module, and here we don't any specific function to create the object, so we can simply use that create data store function, and we need to provide the file name to this function. So let's use that constant. And this create data store function we have in the common main, and here we are simply calling this preference data store factory and create with path function to create the object, and this is how the object will be created. Now we can close all these files. First let's run the Android app. Here we have the app. Let's open the settings screen and this color dialog, and right now it has selected the system default, and my phone is in the dark mode and we have the dark color scheme. If I turn off the dark mode, now the phone is also in the light mode. If I select this dark color scheme and press OK, my app is in the dark mode. And if I make this light and let's turn on the dark mode on the phone, and it has not affected the app because we have selected the light mode for our app. So let's select the system default. So we can see things are working perfectly fine as we expected. Now let's run on the desktop app. And here we have the desktop app. So again, click on this item and we have this dialog. And if I select the dark and press OK, and we have the dark color scheme and it is working perfectly fine. So that's a wrap for this video. We have successfully implemented the preference data store to our app. Now in the next video, we will design those whiteboard cards so we can save more than one whiteboard into our app. As always, drop your questions or suggestions in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I will catch you in the next video.